Hey, garden friends, welcome back. Happy New Year. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but like you, just like you, I've been a little bit busy, but the garden has also been busy. In today's video, I'm gonna show you what it's like to harvest right now. It's beginning of January, what's this, January 10th? Something like that. And so it's early January here in Northern California, Sacramento. And I've been growing brassicas like crazy. Those are all of a lot of your cold crops. So like the cauliflower and broccoli. We've had some cabbage as well, and so there's lots to harvest. We've got some citrus trees in the back, and so I just wanted to give you a little update on the garden, how we're doing things here. Of course, these brassicas, they love this cooler weather. I know that it looks nice and sunny out here, but it is cold out here, my friends. Although maybe not as cold as some of you folks up there in the north where it's actually freezing, right? We just get a little bit chilly here. Here it gets around into the 40s at night, maybe low 30s. Around 30s on a few nights out of the year, and we think that is hyper cold. So for us, it is a little chilly, but these plants love it. As you can see, they are thriving, and I want to show you about what we're going to harvest, how we're growing it. We've been spacing out these. We have rows at about 3 feet on center right now, and then a lot of these brassicas, they like about 18 inches, give or take, about 12 to 18 inches at least, plant to plant. Sometimes, we get overzealous. We want to plant as many seedlings as we can. And sometimes that can be good. You can do really intense gardening. But for some of these plants like these cauliflower and broccoli, especially the cabbage, to mature, they need a lot of space. They need a lot of sunshine. They like that cold weather. They want rich soil. They need a lot of space. Now we've protected them from those little caterpillars, those little cabbage worms or cabbage loopers, right? The little moth lay their eggs, and out comes a green little caterpillar, and it loves to eat your broccoli. We took care of that with some BT earlier in the season. We sprayed it a few times. Now that they're so mature, I'm not even really worried about it. I haven't sprayed them for a few weeks. Really, it's just getting past that phase when they're really, really young. We've put some Sluggo out to take care of some of those creepy crawlies that like to kind of nibble on some of the young plants. We transplant them. We lost one or two to some really bad, severe weather. Here, our winters are really nice, but a couple weeks back, we had some really harsh winds, sustained winds. It was cold, 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 rainy, and then we had this sideways wind just coming in lateral. And it knocked a few of our plants down a little bit. Guess what? They survived. They're doing really good. Like I said, we lost one or two, but that's to be expected. That's farm life, right? Garden style life. But like I said, let's give you a closer look up so you can see the health of this garden, what we got going on. Let's take a look. All right, well, I want to thank you once again for being here. If you're still with us, thank you so much for tuning in. We love having folks here. But look at this. I came out here to film, and I didn't even notice this one was getting there. But look at that. I know the light is a little bit tricky in here because it's so dark, but that is a purple cauliflower called Graffiti. I cannot wait till this gets a little bigger. So now this one, I mean, if you really were starving, you could pull it off, and they're really delicious when they're nice and young and tender. But this one's so young as far as it just started to bud up. So I want to give that one a bit more time. I want to show you what some of the ones what they look like on some of the ones that we're going to be harvesting today. Here's another example of some broccoli that's coming along, but you can see it's really small, really firm to the touch. The broccoli eventually will kind of limit, its size will only get so big, but I can tell that one's really young. It's just starting to bud up. As opposed to, look at this aisle right here. So you can see I've got some cauliflower doing pretty good. And this one's swole up. I noticed the last day, and you can see the head is just starting to loosen a little bit. And so that one's gonna get pulled out today. Here's a little broccoli that we have in here, not the biggest one. You can see how some of the buds are starting to swell up. They look a little different. The head is getting a little bit looser than it was last week. It was really hard and dense, but you can feel some of those flower buds starting to kind of swell up a little bit. So that means it's done. We probably could have taken it last Friday, but we weren't ready for it. So the chef is ready for us. We're gonna bring him a bunch of a really beautiful harvest today. I cannot wait to share with him. He teaches our kids how to cook. We teach them how to grow. So today we're gonna kind of combine forces, do a little harvest, cooking action. Here's a good example of some other heads that are gonna be ready to go. So these ones will all get brought out this morning. The students, I can actually hear them in the background. They're showing up right now. So that whole row is gonna go. You can see some cauliflower coming. Now this is just, we had a little bit of rain, so you can see this little discoloration. Not a big deal, still be delicious. Like I said, we probably could have pulled it out last Friday, but we weren't quite ready to harvest it. But you can see the cauliflower is looking amazeballs. Actually, I guess it's called a snowball. It's looking snowballs, but they're looking really good. So we're gonna pull that out. We've been harvesting some spinach. You can see all this going. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. I'm gonna harvest a bunch of this up, show you what we kind of come out with. Like I mentioned, the citrus trees are looking good. The oranges, we tested their bricks, their sugar content, and they're not quite there yet. They're still a little tart. You can see they're kind of yellow on the skin, but we tested that sugar and they're just not quite fully developed yet. Whereas our mandarins, our Owari satsumas are just about well done harvested, and our gold nuggets down there on the end, we're gonna harvest a bunch of those today as well. This bed was planted a little bit later than the other bed I just showed you. And you can see some of the plants are just now starting to take off. We've got some carrots there we might harvest, and probably like the end of this month. But anywho, let's go take a look at what we got. Let's go do that harvest. All right, so you can see right here, we cut just below the stem, and we're actually gonna leave behind this broccoli plant because it'll actually put off more broccoli florets. They'll actually get quite a bit larger, and it'll rebloom a little bit longer. And so we're gonna continue to grow that. But look at that, beautiful little head. And we've already gone through, we've got a few more to go. The students are doing a great job. Oh yeah, you can cut that one off, that one's perfect. Oh yeah, right there, you got the little one hanging behind. Good job, sir. And he's got one more to go, and then we're on to the more cauliflower, and I'll show you how we do that right now. All right, so right here, we're down to the cauliflower. You can, same thing, you can see this one's getting nice and mature. It's pretty good size, although we've had a few bigger ones out here before, but you can see it's starting to loosen up a little bit. Some space starting to form, so we know this one's just about done. Now, we're gonna not worry too much about it, but we're gonna push some of these leaves down out of the way. All these leaves are definitely, you can cook with, they're edible, good greens. A lot of folks like to use them. Some folks might just, save them for the worms. But can I see the pruners? I'm gonna do some little operations. So really, I'm just gonna use my bypass pruners, and I'm gonna get underneath there and give it a little cut. You wanna do the honors there, sir? While I hold the camera? Yeah. So I got a student here helping me out, doing a great job. And so he's gonna kind of flatten the leaves out, get just below that crown. Make sure we don't cut the irrigation, but he's good at that. And we're just gonna cut right below that crown, make a nice clean cut.
I'm not sure about the leaves. What do you want to do about the leaves of the cauliflower?
We're gonna pull them up, and I think we'll give a few to the chef, but the most we'll probably chop up and feed to our worms. Give our worms a nice treat. Uh-oh, like you can see, it's a really thick crown. You can almost even pull it if you have to open it up a little bit. Get in there, sir. Go ahead and force it in there. Force it in there. Cut it. There we go. Yeah, buddy. So you can see we've got a nice little cut there, and I'll just pull off these excess leaves, and we can store that and take it to the chef and go get this cut up. On to the next.
That's weird.
You know what? We're gonna have to find out. Yeah, so we're talking here about the different flavors and taste.
Is this one ready to go?
That one's ready to go. That's a really good example of one broccoli head that's done. There you go, that's it. And then we'll get a bunch more florets as they get more sunshine. And that is a beautiful one with Mr. A. You can see that, and the broccoli head is just loosening, right? So it's pretty large, but how we know is last week it was hard as a rock in some of these places. Now it's still firm, but you can see the cluster of buds are starting to loosen up a little bit. Oh, great job, sir. Look at that.
Why is this purple?
The cauliflower gone. And now with the cauliflower, I don't mind as much as, if we have to remove the entire plant or all these leaves, because it's really not going to put up another big blossom like that. Whereas the broccoli right next to it, I've noticed we'll get a pretty good second harvest. It'll never be as big as that initial main crown. They'll be a lot smaller actually, but they'll be plentiful and they're delicious. So oftentimes we'll let this go a little bit longer. We'll get a few more treats out of it. All these little younger florets are gonna, they'll kind of elongate, and then you have these nice long, almost like broccolini, or these nice long stems and kind of smaller broccoli heads, but worth the effort if you can keep them in a little longer. Yeah. If you've got seedlings ready to go, then you can pull them out and replace them if that's if you're growing intense. But look right here, here's a cheddar. Look at that color. Oh, so that one's still a little young. We'll get that one another week or so, but we'll check back in on that one.
It's a yellow one.
Yeah, beautiful. We'll have to do a taste test, see if there's any flavor differences. Over here, we're harvesting our gold nugget mandarin. The tree, we've been harvesting it off and on for the past couple of weeks. It's been ripe through about the end of December now and through January. But this dude is so full that a lot of its branches are now, look at this one's on the ground. So we probably should have thinned it out a little bit, but luckily it didn't break. It bent, it didn't break. It bent, it didn't break. So we got a lot of fruit in here. We're gonna do a little bit of harvesting. It'd be nice to have some citrus to go with all this, the crops that we just harvested, the broccoli, the cauliflower, and whatnot. This would be a good contrast to that. Our orange trees are packed full as well. They're just not quite there yet. So we're gonna give them as much time as possible to fully mature and let those sugars kind of develop inside that fruit. But in here, let's go see what we can do with this.
I did get enough for it, like, throws it.
Here, stand over there real quick.
All right.
Perfect. All right. So what's kind of cool is some rows, like the other ones, they'll all kind of be on the same schedule, and you'll notice they'll all be kind of ready to harvest at the same time.
Yeah.
But every now and then you'll be like, oh, why are my plants doing this? The ones next to it are the exact same, and they're not doing it. Here's an example. So these are all about the same ate. For whatever reason, this one's doing just a little ahead of the game, and so this one's already done. It needs to be harvested. I just get in there, not a big deal. Want to cut behind that. Look at that. The stem is so thick. These pruners are almost not wide enough for it. Luckily, it's soft material, so it comes right out. But or tender. Oh, come here, friend. So you can see it's a big, beautiful little crown here. They're starting to bud up and starting to swell and separate just a little bit and loosen. That crown loosens just a little bit, so it's not hard as a rock like it was last week, and it's ready. But it's funny, just the ones around it are completely not ready. They're like not even starting to blossom. They're a few weeks behind, and that happens. So, you know, just in your own garden, if you noticed that some of your plants are, you know, just growing at different rates, that happens. You know, sometimes they'll be good to each other and they'll all, you know, be ready at the same time. But there's something to be said. There's nothing wrong with having one ready before the others. That's how it goes. All right, folks, well, there you have it. We just came in from the garden. It's looking really good. This is a winter harvest. We actually got a lot more out there to go play with. So we're really excited to go do some more harvesting. You can see we got some really awesome crowns of broccoli. And look at this citrus. There was actually a ton of lemons out there that we didn't even include in this harvest. We probably have 1,000 lemons on 2 different small lemon trees. Either one's about 4.5, 5 feet tall. So really compact, semi-dwarf trees, but man, we get a lot of fruit out of them. This tree right here, this is just a tiny amount of the fruit we've got off it. There's actually a lot more out there, and we've already harvested about this much already in previous weeks. But you can see we packed this out as a pretty big bowl, just packed full. This is a gold nugget mandarins. We love these. They're so delicious. So we're gonna get these washed up, taken over to Chef, and we're gonna go see what he can do. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, look at that. I cannot wait. Just beautiful, beautiful harvest. There's a lot more to come. I'll show you what we bring out of that garden next. But I mean, it's early January. I think, you know, January gets a bad rap as being, you know, like a down month in the garden where there's not a lot going on. But I think, as you can see right here, there is a ton going on in the garden, and there's a lot to be celebrated. So until next time, garden friends, happy gardening to you, and please never stop growing.